Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have one of the absolute most incredible hatching dinosaur models that I have ever seen and that you will most likely ever see. We've got ourselves a hatching raptor from SP Art Projects. If you are familiar with them, they make some of the absolute most beautiful models you'll ever see. If you are unfamiliar with them, I actually have a playlist here on the channel of numerous other reviews I have done of their products that I have in my collection. You really need to check that out. See some of the other things they make as well, because again, some of the best prehistoric models that I've ever had the pleasure of entering into my collection have come from SP Art Projects. And yet again, I think they take the cake when it comes to hatching dinosaurs, because this hatching raptor is phenomenal. The sculpt is so nicely done, and as always, when you get one of the SP Art Projects models, you get it painted by SP Art Projects themselves, so you know the paintwork as well is phenomenal. And again, this thing is seriously on another level of beauty. So we're going to jump straight to a closer look, and we'll check it out from there. So if we begin with the little Velociraptor itself, we start with the egg and raptor, which I think is probably the best place to start. You can see that this is unreal when it comes to the sculpt, paint, and realism. Like, it absolutely looks like a straight up living, breathing, hatching raptor here before me. It's crazy how unreasonably impressive this is. Of course, you can see when you take like the overall look at this, the egg is for the most part still intact, but obviously our raptor has recently kind of busted out. You can see the position that the raptor was in, laying inside the egg. You can also see how the foot is kind of extended out, helping the raptor to break out of the egg. You can also see, in something that I really love, you have that little bump there on the snout, which is something that the raptor would have used to break out of the egg, and of course fallen off after it's out. So I really love the fact that he has sculpted that onto the model as well. Just another level of realism, I would say. But when you look at the egg again, the egg is really, really beautifully textured and beautifully painted. We have a very nice greenish tone for the egg itself, and you can see that he's added a nice wash to it and also given it a little bit of variation of color with what looks to be like some darker browns that you see popping up here and there. So the egg looks honestly hyper realistic. And then of course the raptor itself, you can see breaking out of the egg. We've got the cracks and stuff here as the egg is beginning to weaken, and our raptor is starting to really make some progress in getting out of the egg itself. And again, what we can see here, you've got the head kind of escaping the egg. We have some really nice variation of color here in the face. You can see some ever so slight variations of blues and reds and browns and all sorts of color here. Just really tiny little differences in color here for the face of the raptor. You can see the mouth. Obviously, the entire snout of the raptor has now escaped the egg. You can see he's highlighted the mouth with a darker tone, and also again highlighted the nostrils right there with a darker tone. And as you lead back, we can see that this is in fact a feathered raptor. We can obviously see the feathers, and I love the fact that he sculpted and painted the feathers out in a way where they do have that kind of wet look to them, because of course the raptor is going to come out wet and then dry off once it's out. That's how it works when it comes to modern day birds and stuff that we see all the time. And I personally have quite a few ducks, and I've helped the baby ducks hatch over the years a number of times. So this is honestly exactly what it looks like when a duckling hatches, which is why I think it makes this model so much more special and honestly spectacular to see. So much unbelievable realism in this. But I just love how, again, the feathers that you see here look genuinely wet. You can also see the eye is painted with a black, also sports a nice gloss coat like the eye should, again given that nice realistic eye shine. And then if you look over here, you can see the foot, well basically the toes, starting to creep out of the egg as well. You can see even the nails are painted and sculpted really nicely. There's a nice darker tone, and it transitions gradually as it leads out to a lighter tone for the tips of the nails. Of course, you see the same for the sickle claw right there. it looks extremely realistic in that aspect as well. And you can even see the insides there of the eggshell right here. And I love that he's painted that out with a white and also added kind of like a little bit of a pinkish tone in there, giving it that sort of look that you see when it comes to like the, you know, the blood and everything that you would normally have running along the outer edge of the eggshell. And you can see that as you lead along where the raptor meets the eggshell. You can see how realistically he's painted this again to give it that exact look. It's crazy, crazy impressive. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen a more realistic looking dinosaur model in my entire life than this hatching raptor right here from SP Art Projects. Like I said, absolutely on another level. And then we've got the base for our baby raptor and where it sits. And you'll see that there's like this little kind of grooved out area where the egg was sitting, and contained within that area you can see we have all sorts of vegetation kind of course, to soften the area where the raptor is laying. And of course, when the little raptor gets out of its egg, it'll have a nice little spot to sit in until it gets its, you know, self sorted out. But as you move around and you look at the outside, you can see that it's basically like a little dirt mound that we have here, and it's sculpted so nicely. If you get nice and close and you look at the actual texturing, again, impressive is just a minor way to look at this. And you can also see the variation of color. I would say that the paintwork from SP Art Projects is some of the absolute best in the business when it comes to prehistoric collectibles. And that certainly does not cease no matter where you look at it. As you kind of circle around, you could just see so much realism to this. And you can even see little stones and stuff that are laying here and there. And as you move around to the front, you've got a little stick, or like a, yeah, I guess it's some sort of a stick. I almost thought maybe it was a root, but it's actually like a broken stick there. Again, over here a little bit more. Almost kind of resembles like some roots. And then you also have a little bug crawling up right here in the front, which is super, super cool. And I love the colors even on that. You can see it's a grayish tone, but there's even a little bit of like a, almost like a slight metallic shine to it with some pinkish or purplish tones, which is also really cool. Again, you've got some more rocks over here, a little one down here, some more smaller ones as you move up. And again, the variation of color is super impressive. Almost gives it like the look of like clay. If you are familiar with the way that clay looks, especially over here, you can really see it has kind of like that clay-like look, which I think would be a decent place for a dinosaur to lay its eggs. You know, it would definitely help, I would think, to keep them nice and warm. And again, as you lead up, you can see even up here, it looks fantastic everywhere. And then if you actually look at the underside, you can see the name of our hatching Velociraptor, and of course the fact that this is a 1-to-1 scale replica, and it's a limited edition of 30, with mine being number 1, which makes this absolutely as amazing as it gets. I don't know for sure if I have any number 1s in my collection at all when it comes to stuff like this, when it comes to limited editions. So that makes this even cooler. There is a different paint variant, so this would be number 1 for this paint variant, but again, absolutely amazing base to go with an incredible hatching Velociraptor. And obviously you can see the base looks really nice, and the raptor and egg is removable from the base. So this is the way I believe it's meant to sit in here. You could always flip-flop it and have it the other way. You know, it can still stay in there nicely, you know, whatever direction you choose to display it. But personally, I do quite like it the original way. I think it just looks nice and snug, nice and cozy. And man, I seriously cannot get over how impressive this is. I love that even you can see like the gloss coat, so giving it that kind of wet look following along the edge of the egg that is cracked open. Crazy, crazy impressive. As far as a size goes, if you go for a height from the bottom here, the ground basically, to the top of the egg while it sits on the base, you are looking at about 4¼ inches or around 11 centimeters. If you are looking at a size of the egg of the raptor itself, a little under 3¾ inches or a little under 9½ centimeters. For a size comparison, There is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A Human Being next to our SP Art Projects hatching Velociraptor, and you can get a pretty good idea of the size of the model, I think. It's obviously not gigantic, but it's by no means small. It's a very nice, very convenient-sized model that I feel like would definitely fit very nicely on any sort of a, work desk, computer desk, anything like that. I really feel like this is an excellent model to have on your desk. There aren't all that many models that I feel like will compare well with this, especially because I don't have all that many hatching dinosaurs, but here is a Mattel Velociraptor and Dilophosaurus next to the hatching Velociraptor here, just to give you another idea of a size if you happen to have any of these figures. And then we have the Safari LTDU Tyrannus, the Schleich Diabloceratops, and Collect A Deluxe Dimetrodon stepping in here for yet another comparison. So this SP Art Projects hatching Velociraptor model is unquestionably one of the single most impressive prehistoric models I have ever seen. Now, I am always blown away by everything SP Art Projects creates and everything that they've created so far that, again, I have had the pleasure of adding to my collection and checking out here on the channel. But this might be my favorite model from them so far. I don't know that I've ever seen a more realistic looking dinosaur model in my life. And I really don't know that my words or even this video are truly going to do this model justice when it comes to the overall genuine realism of this. Like, staring at it, I really feel like it's going to move at any second and start trying to push its way out of the egg. And that is crazy to me, that it can give me that genuine feel of life like that so realistically. It's just crazy how real this looks. If you look at the model as a whole, again, everything is sculpted to perfection, as realistic as could possibly get, sporting all kinds of really nice texturing on the egg, all the way down to the base itself, again, the earthy areas of the base itself, as well as, of course, our baby raptor. The baby raptor sports that perfect appearance to it, kind of squished and bunched up in the egg as it's trying to escape. And as I said, I've helped many ducks hatch over the years, and this is exactly what it looks like. Everything, whether you look at the appearance to the wet feathers or the way that it's kind of pushing to escape the egg, the way the egg is cracking, the way that it's painted around the edges of the egg with that kind of wet look, the little bump on the snout of the raptor, as well as just the way it's kind of scrunched up in the egg. It looks exactly as I would imagine it would for an actual hatching raptor. And the paintwork throughout, again, just as lifelike as it gets. There's so much very, very tiny, subtle variation of color on the raptor itself. And of course, that doesn't cease there. The egg sports tons of different coloration. The earthy area where our egg is sitting also sports tons of variation of color. Everything looks as legit and real as it gets. So again, SP Art Projects isn't just impressing me here, they've completely blown my mind. So if you are interested in grabbing one of these for yourself, and I honestly cannot recommend you do that enough, make sure you check the links that I will include in the description to where you can contact SP Art Projects on Instagram, place an order for this. Again, being a limited edition of 30, it's going to go pretty quick, so you definitely want to get that order in and grab one while you can. And of course, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.